My older sister, Laura, is 7 years my senior, and this story takes place 4 years ago, back when she was still navigating the chaotic world of online dating. She'd recently downloaded a niche app called Coastal Connections, meant for people near the shorelines, since we lived in a small seaside town. One humid summer evening, she told me and our younger brother, Theo, that she was meeting a guy named Carter at the old pier, a quiet spot with a seafood shack and a view of the crashing waves. She was excited, texting him as she slipped on her sandals and headed out. Laura got there early, perched on a weathered bench near the shack, the salty breeze tugging at her hair. She messaged Carter to let him know she was by the neon clams and cocktails sign. Barely 30 seconds later, a figure approached, not from the parking lot, but from the shadowed end of the pier where the fishermen usually lingered. He was tall, wiry, with a patchy beard and a faded baseball cap pulled low. He smelled faintly of stale cigarettes and seaweed, and when he grinned, Laura noticed a chipped incisor that gleamed under the flickering lights. "Mind if I join ya?" he rasped, plopping down beside her without waiting for an answer. He offered to grab her a beer from the shack. Laura politely declined, mentioning she was waiting for someone. He didn't budge, just leaned closer, muttering something about how pretty girls shouldn't be left alone. Her skin prickled. She told him firmly to leave, and after a tense pause, he shuffled off toward the water, disappearing into the dark. Relieved, Laura texted Carter to hurry up, describing the creepy encounter. No reply. She waited, the distant hum of waves her only company. 10 minutes later, her phone buzzed. "Sorry, stuck in traffic. Order some fries or something." She frowned, oddly casual for a first meetup. Then, out of the corner of her eye, she saw the man again, this time lingering near a rusted railing, watching her. Her stomach dropped. She texted Carter again. "Where are you? This guy's back." No response. The man approached once more, smirking. "Date stood you up, huh? Shame." His tone was mocking, and Laura snapped, "Leave me alone, please." As she stood to go, his phone, resting on the bench beside him, lit up with a chime. She froze. It was her text. Her blood ran cold as she realized Carter wasn't coming, because he was already here. Panicking, Laura muttered something about needing the restroom and bolted toward the shack, dialing Theo on the way. I picked up, hearing her shaky voice. "He's not who he said he was. Tell me what to do." Theo yelled, "Get out of there. Run home." I grabbed my bike, ready to meet her halfway. When Laura slipped out the shack's back door, the man was gone. She sprinted to her car, locked the doors, and peeled out of the lot. She made it home in minutes, the pier only a mile down the coast. As she fumbled with her keys at the door, headlights flashed across the street. A beat-up truck idling 2 houses down. She rushed inside, and Theo and I met her in the hall. She pointed out the window, breathless. "That truck! It followed me." We peeked through the blinds, but the street was empty. Maybe it was paranoia, but she swore she'd seen it. Later that night, as I tinkered with a model ship in my room, a text pinged Lara's phone. It was from Carter. "Sorry I missed you. Rough night. Which house is yours? I'll swing by." Then another, "Saw you through the window. Cute pajamas." Lara shrieked, and Theo raced to her room. Her window faced the backyard, and it was cracked open, the latch undone. We called Dad, who stormed outside with a flashlight, but no one was there. The police traced the number to a burner app, untrackable. We installed new locks, but Lara deleted the app that night. Some people, she said, are just shadows waiting to creep in. I just moved to a sleepy mountain town, renting a cozy cabin nestled among pines, and decided to try my luck on a dating app called Peak Matches. I matched with a woman named Elise, 10 years older than me, 35 to my 25. She had a rugged charm in her photos, all flannel and hiking boots, and I figured we'd hit it off over coffee. I suggested a quirky cafe downtown known for its homemade pastries. She agreed but asked me to share my location since she was terrible with directions. I arrived first, parked near the cafe's muraled wall, and waited. Elise pulled up in a dusty Jeep that coughed as it idled. She stepped out, taller than I'd expected, with sharp cheekbones and a guarded smile. I waved, going for a handshake, but she flinched and muttered, "Not big on touching, strike one." Inside, she barely glanced at the menu, her eyes darting to the windows like she was expecting someone else. I ordered a latte. She barked at the barista for black coffee, her voice jagged and loud. The date limped along. Her profile pics had promised a sun-kissed adventurer, but in person, she looked worn. Older than 35, maybe, with lines etched deep around her mouth. I tried small talk about hiking trails, but she gave clipped answers, fidgeting with a silver ring on her thumb. When the bill came, I waited for her to offer something, anything, but she just stared at me. I paid, eager to escape. Outside, I faked a smile. "Great meeting you." She nodded, lingering by her Jeep as I climbed into my car. I drove back to my cabin, the dirt road winding through the trees. I'd barely kicked off my boots when my phone pinged. "Elise, forgot to say bye. Where'd you go?" I froze. I hadn't stopped sharing my location. Another text, "Nice place. Remote." My heart thudded. I peeked out the window and saw her Jeep parked at the edge of my driveway, headlights off. I texted back, "Why are you here?" No reply. Then a knock, slow, deliberate. I ducked into the pantry, lights off, clutching my phone. She texted again, "I know you're in there. Let me in." I peeked through a gap in the curtains and saw her silhouette by the back porch, peering through the glass door. Her eyes glinted in the moonlight. I dialed 911, whispering about a trespasser. Minutes later, I heard gravel crunch, her Jeep speeding off. The cops arrived, too late to catch her, but found boot prints circling the cabin and a scratched note under a rock. "You're not special." They traced her profile to a fake name, Elise Tanner, linked to petty theft reports. I got a restraining order and a security camera. The woods feel less peaceful now. After a messy breakup, I swore off dating, until I caved and joined a site called Spark Vibe. My first match was Nadia, 28 to my 34, with a warm smile and a bio promising good food and better stories. I invited her over to my loft for a homemade meal, risotto with mushrooms and a crisp white wine. It felt bold, but I wanted something low-key after years of stiff bar dates. Nadia arrived at 7 p.m., her auburn hair catching the light as I let her in. She was quieter than her messages suggested, her eyes scanning my place. Exposed brick, bookshelves, the open kitchen. I stirred the risotto while asking about her day, but she answered in murmurs, picking at her nails. I plated the food, poured the wine, and sat across from her. She stared at her glass, then said, "Got any music? Something soft." "Sure," I said, hopping up to grab my speaker from the living room. When I returned, she was settling back into her chair, too quickly, like she'd been somewhere else. "Everything okay?" I asked. She nodded, brushing it off. "Just stretched my legs." I shrugged, hit play on a jazz playlist, and raised my glass. She mirrored me, but I paused. Something cloudy swirled in my wine, faint but unmistakable. Hers was clear. My pulse quickened. Was it sediment? Or something else? I faked a sip, watching her. She didn't drink either, just smiled thinly. We ate in near silence, the risotto suddenly tasteless. After, she excused herself to the bathroom, 5 minutes, then 10. When she returned, she grabbed her purse. Gotta run, work emergency. I walked her out, locking the door behind her. I sniffed the wine. Nothing odd, just oak and citrus. Paranoid, I dumped it and checked the loft. Nothing missing. I texted a buddy, half joking, "Think she tried to spike me?" He laughed it off, but sleep wouldn't come. At 3 a.m., a creak echoed from the kitchen. I crept out, barefoot, and saw a shadow by the sink. Nadia, holding a knife from my block. "Nadia," I croaked. She turned, eyes wide, then set the knife down. "I lost an earring earlier. Came back for it. The back door was ajar." She jimmied it. I stammered, "Leave or I call the cops." She bolted. I locked up, called 911, and handed over the knife for prints. They found her, a petty con artist with a history of slipping sedatives into drinks. I didn't press charges, but I trashed the wine and swore off risotto for good.